Hello and welcome back to Drama Investigator. Before we get into today's investigation, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I post the tea. Kodak Black recently got drugged in prison and exposed what had happened to him in a lengthy Instagram post. He also mentioned his brother Juice WRLD'S passing. Kodak mentioned the several physical altercations he's gotten into with different inmates over the past several months, a lot of which he claims were either escalated by prison guards or how he was neglected and treated inhumanely. Kodak actually had to be put in a wheelchair at one point because of his injuries from fellow inmates and prison officers. So Kodak was sentenced to 46 months in prison on Wednesday regarding his federal gun case where he pleaded guilty to lying on background paperwork whilst attempting to buy guns. Kodak has obviously been able to get his hands on a cell phone and took to his Instagram story exposing his inhumane treatment whilst being in prison. Kodak had stated, "On October the 29th, I was laced with an unknown substance here in Miami, FDC. That substance gave me an out-of-body experience and had me feeling like I was possessed and dying slowly. Upon this experience, I managed to go to the CO's office to seek medical attention, as shown on surveillance cameras. I was denied. This left me in a state of paranoia. Shortly after, I got into an altercation with an inmate. This same CO who denied me medical attention proceeded to pepper spray me, which instantly impaired my vision, and I was oblivious to who was punching and grabbing me repeatedly in the face. Even after I was on the floor, they continued to strike me and deploy more people. I was summoning for them to stop while gasping for my breath. This near-death experience felt like dogs were tearing at my skin while they were grabbing and beating me while I was under the influence of this unknown substance that mysteriously hasn't popped up in my urine analysis, and mysteriously the inmate I was fighting with went home the next day. I was beaten so brutally that I had to be taken to the box in a wheelchair. I have been here for 45 days without commissary, hygiene stressed out and on psych meds, having to mourn the loss of my brother Juice WRLD behind the doors. Prior to this, there were a few inmates who intentionally beat up an officer and no charges were filed. Meanwhile, I get into a fight with another inmate and this officer jumps in to inflict harm on himself and capitalise on my status as a local celebrity. I had officers tell me that the CO was okay that night and that he is trying to go this route because he self-checked himself in the hospital. I have also heard officers tell me that the CO has been back to FDC and bragging that he will get $250,000 from me. I want to shed this light on police brutality and the tactics they use to cover their behinds. Hashtag justice for Kodak. So Kodak might get released because of what's happened to him if the courts see that he was treated inhumanely by the person who's supposed to be there to ensure this doesn't happen. All for money. Now if the courts rule Kodak's inhumane treatment, he might get another punishment like home detention, which is ideally what he should be getting instead because of this inhumane treatment in my opinion. So let's talk about why Kodak Black is in prison in the first place and a bit more about his criminal history. So prosecutors in Miami asked for a sentence of 46 to 57 months, but Kodak's lawyers requested less time for him in prison, whilst pointing to his guilty plea back in August and pointed to his history of charitable work. Kodak Black, whose real name is Bill Capri, had admitted to lying on background checks whilst buying multiple firearms this year. Apparently Kodak had allegedly used a gun to fire at a rival rap artist, and according to the police, the guns found at the crime scenes had Capri's fingerprints on them and a live round in the chamber. However, Capri had not been charged in the shooting. Another weapon was also discovered in Capri's car, whilst Capri and his team attempted to cross the Canadian border in April. Saucy, smuggling illegal weapons into another country. Capri was also charged with unlawful possession of Mary Jane and criminal possession of a firearm. According to an article from South Florida Sun-Sentinel, Capri had apologized in court and told the judge he takes full responsibility for his mishap. Kodak Black's case was another sentence that has put an abrupt halt on his promising and growing career. Although this news is probably going to bring him a lot of notoriety, which at the end of the day made Tekashi a hell of a lot more popular, so it's arguable that this incident will just make the rapper even more popular. Kodak Black's second major label album, Dying to Live, debuted at #1 on the Billboard album chart, with its hit single ZZ. Love that song so much. Kodak has reportedly faced drug, weapons, and robbery charges, and was arrested in 2018 for violating the terms of his probation, and he was sentenced to a year back then. Kodak has also remained under indictment on charges of sexual conduct in South Carolina since 2016, though he was released on bond. #bail bond, because there wasn't enough evidence by the sounds of it. He actually faces a sentence of up to 30 years on that case. This sexual assault charge actually came up on his background check when he was attempting to buy guns in Florida in March 2019. If we rewind back to January, Kodak Black had transposed 2 digits of his social security number, allowing him to purchase 3 guns, and then on his second visit to that same gun store, he was found to be untruthful on forms and denied his 4th firearm. Kodak was then arrested in May 2019, just before he was about to go on stage at the Rolling Loud Music Festival in Miami. In Kodak Black's defense, according to his lawyer, he had actually attempted to purchase the weapons in self-defense. Kodak had also added that he had grown up in a very poor neighborhood, and that's why he's reportedly become a victim and product of his environment. Now, Juice WRLD, who is Kodak Black's brother, recently passed away, so Kodak has had to deal with this grief whilst being mistreated in prison, which he has mentioned in his lengthy exposing Instagram post. Juice WRLD passed on December the 8th, 6 days after his 21st birthday. Juice WRLD suffered an unknown medical emergency shortly after landing at Chicago's Midway International Airport, and was later pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. Juice WRLD's cause of death has not been determined. Toxicology, cardiac pathology, and neuropathology tests were required following an initial autopsy on Monday. It was reported that he passed from a seizure and a heart attack, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding whether or not it was related to substance abuse. Regardless of this, his fans are absolutely distraught, and so are all of his friends and family. According to the Chicago police, Juice WRLD went into convulsions as federal agents searched the private jet that he had arrived in. A federal agent administered the opioid antidote Narcan. Juice WRLD woke up incoherent briefly, and according to TMZ, paramedics spent 40 minutes treating him and attempting to steady his heartbeat. According to sources, Juice WRLD swallowed multiple Percocet pills in order to hide them from the federal agents when he landed at the airport. Juice WRLD apparently took these several unknown pills before his medical emergency, and it's noted that he had recently become addicted to Percocet. Juice WRLD has been open with his struggles with drug addiction in the past, and in July he had tweeted this: "I'ma leave that shit alone for good. Watch me. I'm done with it." Ultimately though, it is reportedly unknown if Juice WRLD actually passed from an overdose. It's extremely sad, such a young and talented life lost. My heart goes out to his family. In more news, wannabe rapper and singer Jake Paul recently released a music video where he dropped a hit of LSD and Molly while he Paul humped a model, and this music video was supposedly directed to his kid audience. Now, if you didn't already know, the YouTube Purge removed some videos because of their new harassment policy, but apparently music videos like this are immune to YouTube's new laws and other normal terms of service ban level offences, and the music video is still monetized. Shock horror. Poor Tana Mango. The way Jake Paul treats her is disgusting. The song he had made was actually about missing his ex, and the model did look a lot like Erica Costello, and this was all filmed while his non-legal wife, Tana Mojo, was in the other room. Now, speaking of Tana Mojo, there's been drama surrounding her recent Streamy Award she won last night for Creator of the Year. That's very questionable indeed. Even Tana had commented on her award on Instagram.
Big thank you to my family over at MTV for sending me these balloons and countless bottles of expensive champagne for my nomination today. I love you guys. I just won Creator of the Year. I literally have no words. This is literally the first thing I'm saying. I don't know what's going on. I credit my whole life and literally being alive to Shane Dawson. Okay, I'm gonna go sob now. Bye. What the fuck? Love you. Thanks, guys. You did this. Oh, what? I'm going insane.
I sure am.
Is this a prank or am I being punked or? Wow, yeah, no. I'll go give it to David right now. I promise. David!
Oh my god! Yes!
It is 100%. It's crazy. Everything's different since then.
Yeah, so like Paris Hilton's over there, like what's going on?
No, whenever she's next to me, I'm just like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. She's my mentor, my idol, my everything. Yeah. I worship her.
Even Tana's top commenters on Twitter were saying that other people deserve the award more. What are your thoughts on this problematic queen winning Creator of the Year award? Yes, putting a toothbrush somewhere where toothbrushes should never go is very creative indeed in my opinion. Love us a match. That's all for this investigation. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell. My social media will be linked down below, and I'll see you guys in our next investigation.